Katherine Knight. All I'm going to say is you better not be eating throughout this video. We're in Australia, 2000. I love Australia. Katherine Knight's upbringing was awful, traumatic, very sad. Her mom had 4 kids before Katherine was born. Then her mom had 4 other kids with another man. Katherine Knight was one of those 4. The household was abusive. The father would SA the mom multiple times a day. And then the mom would talk about how much she hated that in detail to her daughter, so to Katherine. She would speak about how much she hated that and she hated men. But when something like that would happen to her daughter, she would tell them to stop complaining and just put up with it. Katherine herself suffered from SA from different family members until around the age of 11. In school, Katherine was known to be aggressive and a bully. She had a bit of a temper. At age 15, she left school and started working at a factory. 12 months after that, she got her dream job working at a slaughterhouse. Katherine worked in the boning room, so she would chop animals basically and cut off all of their meat. While working there in 1973, she meets her first husband, David Kellett. They get married in 1974, and it's very bad from the start. The night of the wedding, when David saw Katherine's mom, she gave him a warning. She said, "You better not do anything to her. You better watch out or she will kill you." The night of their wedding, also, David and Katherine do the deed. David falls asleep afterwards, and Katherine doesn't like that. It makes her really angry, and what does she do? She attempts to strangle him. He eventually manages to fight Katherine off of him, so he was okay, and they end up being together for a long time. I'm talking 10 years. Throughout those 10 years, Katherine makes David's life a living hell. She does eventually end up getting pregnant. One night when she's very far along in her pregnancy, David comes home, but he comes home late. Too late for Katherine's liking. So when he comes home, Katherine hits him in the back of the head with a frying pan so hard that he had to be heavily treated for a skull fracture. In May of 1976, their first kid is born. David is fed up with Katherine because Katherine is not only horrible to him, but she's now horrible to their kid, and they end up having a second child. She's not working anymore by this time. She is unemployed, so she has all the time in the world to be horrible and mistreat her family. David tries to leave multiple times, and eventually, after years of abuse, they do end up separating. In 1986, Katherine meets another man, 38-year-old David Saunders. You can imagine that relationship was sickening as well. May of 1987, Katherine is losing her temper in an argument with David, and she wants to prove a point to let him know how powerful she can be and how she can hurt him if she wanted to. Big warning to anyone that has a pet or loves dogs. To prove her point, Katherine takes their 2-month-old puppy and cuts the dog and tells David that that was just an example of what she could do to him if he ever disrespected her. A little bit over a year after that, Katherine gives birth to her 3rd daughter, but her and David's first kid. It's hard to believe, isn't it, that she is literally a mother. Anyway, the abuse doesn't stop. She harms David all the time, hits him with frying pans. She even stabbed him with a pair of scissors once. David eventually runs away and has to hide out from Katherine for a long time, and that's the end of that relationship. Fast forward to 1991, Katherine is in her late 30s now. She starts seeing an old coworker named John Chillingworth. They have a baby together, but that relationship doesn't last a long time because she's been having an affair. Katherine has been having an affair with a different John Price. John Price worked in the local mines. He was a father of 3. He had 3 kids with his previous wife. In 1988, John and his wife get a divorce. The daughter stays with now his ex-wife, and the 2 older kids move in with John. By 1955, him and Katherine have been together, and Katherine eventually moves into John's house with his 2 adult kids. By February of 2000, they've been together on and off for a while. Katherine is an absolute monster throughout the whole relationship. February 28th, John is fed up with Katherine. He kicks her out of the house and tries to get a restraining order against her. That same night, John talks to some of his coworkers, and he lets them know that if he doesn't show up to work the next morning, it's because Katherine killed him. When John gets back home, Katherine isn't there. The kids aren't there either. They're staying the night at a friend's house, I think. He hangs out for a little bit, goes to bed around 11 p.m. Katherine comes back home that night, takes a shower, watches TV for a little bit, I think, and then she goes upstairs to wake up John. They do the deed, and then John falls back asleep. The next morning at 6 a.m., John does not make it to work. And because what he told his coworkers before, they are very worried about him, and they go to his house to check on him, make sure he's okay. They see his truck is parked in the driveway, but no one's answering the door, so they call the cops. The cops are trying to get inside, no one's answering the door, so they end up breaking in. They walk into the house, one of the cops pushes a curtain out of the way to make his way through. He uses his arm to push away the curtain, and that's when he realizes it was not a curtain. The curtain Catherine was human flesh. They quickly noticed blood everywhere, and they also noticed that dinner's being made. There's something on the stove. The dinner table was set. There were placemats with name tags. Both of John's children's name were on the name tag. I don't know why that was a tongue twister for me. Anyway, the table's all set. It looks like they were preparing to have dinner, but now there is blood everywhere, so what the heck happened? Well, because of the blood, how much there was, where it was placed, along with more evidence that they found, the cops were able to put a story together of a timeline of what they think really happened the night that Catherine got back home. She woke up John, he fell back asleep, and then Catherine took a butcher's knife to John and stabbed him more than 37 times. That woke up John, obviously, and you can tell that he tried to fight back because there was blood on the walls throughout the house, down the stairs, and up to the front door. So John was more than likely trying to get away, but he obviously did not. Catherine Knight killed her boyfriend and then proceeded to skin his body. With her knives, she hung up his skin from a meat hook as a curtain, decapitated his body, took his head into the pot with the vegetables to cook his head for dinner. She was cooking dinner to put on the dinner table to feed to John's children. One of the pieces of meat, of human flesh as well, was outside. Catherine had fed it to the dog. If you're wondering where Catherine was throughout this whole thing, they find her sleeping upstairs, so they obviously take her into custody immediately. In court, Catherine pleads not guilty. She pleads not guilty and then changes her plea and pleads guilty. What she was trying to do is she was trying to act insane. She had full intentions to try and get away with this, and I think that at one point she really did think she was going to. Obviously, she didn't fool anyone. The judge didn't fall for her act, so she was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. That made Catherine Knight the first woman to get a life prison sentence in Australia. She is, to my knowledge, currently still serving out her life sentence at Silverwater Prison in New South Wales. Is that not the most morbid thing you have ever heard? I can't process in my mind how someone as a human being can do that to another human being. I can't even begin to comprehend what your state of mind has to be when you're literally taking the skin, skinning your boyfriend and then hanging up his flesh in your house. It makes me sick. Anyway, yeah, I'm honestly glad that this video is done because I do not want to think about this any longer. It's so disturbing and so sad, but let me know what you guys think. I love you all so, so much. Massive kiss on the forehead to every single one of you.